So I had a video requested a long time ago on Instagram from a friend of mine asking about triads moving up the fretboard, and I figured better late than never. So here we are. I'm going to talk about how do you find triads moving up the fretboard in the same key. I think that one of the first things you need to do is know how a triad is built. And so we're going to look at the high E string, and we're going to look at an E. And that's the high E string. So the first note in an E chord is just that open string. The second note in an E, this is an E major, is the 4th fret, or G sharp. Okay? And this is going to be important later. And the other note in the chord would be a B, if we played an E chord. And that would be the 7th fret here on the high E string. And together we would get this, but more accurately we would get that, right? And each one of those little spots has a shape you can play on it to get that same chord in a different inversion. And this is our root position pattern. It's over the B, and it looks a lot like an A chord. It really is the same exact thing as an A chord. It's just the top 3 strings. So if we go back to the open E string, that's going to look like an E. It's really just 1st fret on the G string and then 2 open strings, and we get an E major. And if we move up to that 4th fret G sharp and we play a D shape with that middle finger being part of the D, we get another E in second inversion. What that means is the B is on the bottom. And if we move up to the B and we put our index finger there and our fingers up here like we're playing an A shape, we get a root position E chord. So that's the first thing. Those 3 shapes give you your inversions of triads. Now this isn't talking about 7ths or anything like that. And what that means is if you sort of work that out, you know, if I'm playing E here, that's the D shape E on the 4th fret, really. And then I think about it, well, if I want to go to an A chord, I can just find an A and play that E shape, or I could find the middle note in A, which is C sharp, and find a D shape. But I find that the A is right there next to the G sharp, so if I play this E shape, I get an A chord. So and a B chord, I have 2 different options. I can find that F sharp and play the A shape, or I can just do the B and play that same E shape.